Okay, so now we are going to talk about Israel, and I had to do a lot of his history research on Israel because I do not. I am very ignorant to Israel and Iran, and I honestly was like, "Is Iran Persia?" I had to like. I'm just telling you, I am 100% ignorant. So I had to do research in order to know the history of Israel, in order to tie it into astrology so it can make sense. So if you're anything ignorant like me, I am going to talk about the basic history of Israel and Iran and Palestine. Okay. Now, first of all, before we get started, I do want you to know that this is 100% involving the Libra eclipse that happened in October 2nd, and it will continue to be feeling on because the eclipse lasts for a good minute. Okay. And we know that war just doesn't end until tomorrow. Okay. So let me just talk about the timeline. And I didn't even do any visuals for this. So hopefully you have patience. If you're listening to this via podcast, it's fine. But if you're watching this, our I know our stimulations, we like fast energy, especially Jupiter and the sign Gemini. We want it fast. We need multiple stimulation. But treat this as a podcast, okay? I do want you to understand that this history with Israel and Palestine has been for a very, very long time. Okay. 1897, we had the first Zionist Congress. What is the Zionists? They believe in having a physical, tangible home, which is Israel, and that you could be a Zionist and not live in Israel, but you believe that Israel should be your home as you are Jewish, if you are Jewish. Okay. So that is a Zionist. Okay. On 1917, the Balfour Declaration was a letter from the British foreign. They basically took over. They took over Palestine, and then they've decided like, okay, we are going to give it to the Jewish people. Okay. Now, the person who was in charge at that time was Arthur Balfour, to Lord of Walter Rothschild. I want to point out the name Rothschild, okay? For all my conspiracy theorists, I need my aluminum hat. Just want you to know, but they at the time had the power, and they took over Palestine, and they gave it to. They said this is a national home for Jewish people. 1920, the League of Nations mandate happened, and that's when they gave it mandate to administer Palestine following the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire was towards the end of World War I, and this is when it started to Britain started to own it and give it to Jewish people. I just want Jewish people. Does it sound mean to say Jewish people, to give it to Zionists or Jewish people? I don't think that. Now you're scared. I'm scared to say certain words. But I'm not going to live in fear. We're going to move on. 1920, the creation of Haganah was a Jewish parliament. Military started to organize and become the defense of Jewish communities in the British Mandate Palestine. Okay, 1929, there was a massacre happening, and was a violence during the city because they're fighting. Okay, 1939, it was a thing called White Paper and a British policy statement that limited Jewish immigration in a land of people who were immigrating from I don't know, somewhere, maybe couldn't come to Palestine. It just seems like it was a lot going back and forth. What was happening? It seems like a lot of people during the Holocaust were trying to come to Israel, and then maybe they were like, okay, we need to back off because there were like this back and forth. Things from the Palestinians at the same time. There was a lot of people who were Muslim living in Palestine, and it's interesting how they can come, take over, and say, you guys move out, and now Jewish people live there. Now, it looks like before I even start this timeline, there's Jewish people are like, this is our land, and somehow it flipped. This is, okay, I'm just reading the timeline, okay? And where did I get this from? I got this from the website AJC Timeline. I'm gonna have to. I have the link. I'll put it down below. Okay. Anyway, 1947 to 1979, Arab and Israeli wars over the peace of who owns this land was happening. And then there was a war. There's always a war during Jewish holidays. I don't know what that's about. Yom Kippur, there was a war. It was called the October War. In Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel during Yom Kippur, the holiest day for Judaism. 1982 to present, they had this terrorism happening. I say terrorism because it's like we don't know who really, if you're Jewish, you have your side. If you're Muslim, you have your side. But when you say terrorist, that means that you are attacking someone's homeland, and they consider it their homeland. I want it to be very clear. That's why we have this eclipse in Libra happening. You know, Okay, there's two sides to your story, and it depends on what religion or where you land in this. And some people who are Jewish do side with Muslims. I don't know if I heard it the other way around. It could be my bias media coming my way, but I just want to understand. I'm trying to give this to you in a non-biased way. I am non-biased because I'm ignorant to all of this. I'm just giving you the astrology. I'm not ignorant to the astrology. Okay. 1982 is when they first had a war with Lebanon, and I do want you to understand that there's several countries involved with this. There's Israel, and it's very tiny. And then it's connected to Lebanon, which is sitting right on top of it. Maybe I should pull this up. I'm just going to tell you there's Lebanon that's sitting right on top of it. And then there's Iran, that's a few countries away. And then there's also Yemen, which is way down at the bottom. And these are all Muslim countries. They are teamed up together and they are called something like a group. And they're all Muslim versus Jewish. And Israel is the small country that's in between all that. Okay. 1994, there was an assassination of the Israeli prime minister, and that death made a big part of what was going on, because I think that leader was going to make it a little bit more peaceful, and then he got assassinated, so that didn't happen. Okay, fast forward all the way into the 2000s, and so you're talking about they came into Palestine. They took over the land through the British rule, took over the land. And in between that time, all the way from the Ottoman Empire, okay, which was all the way in the 1800s, late 1800s, all between that time, they are sitting there fighting with them. And as they are fighting with Palestinians, they are taking over the land more and more and more, and increasing population and bringing more Jewish people into the land. Even though there was a big time where Muslim people populated more, they still took more. And then even they had a time where, let me stick. I'm giving you my information. There was a time, okay, I think this is the Operation of Pillar Defense. Is that it? No. There was a time when they had a talking to. Where is it? The 1993. Oslo Accords, okay? It's when they had an agreement that Israel and Palestine will stay together and do a two-state situation. Like, you guys, we're going to negotiate, you're going to agree. At that time, though, Israel was like, okay, we'll pretend to agree, but what we're really going to agree on is that we will keep taking over the land. So there were a lot of problems happening, a lot of confusion. I will break down their chart so you can understand why. A second war in Lebanon war in 2006 happened. In 2008 to 2009, Operation Cast Lead happened, and that's when they had the war in Gaza. And yeah, so they've been fighting back and forth. In 2021, May conflict in Gaza, 11-day war erupted between Israel and Hamas. And then you had what happened October 7th, and the Hamas massacre happened. Yeah, so they tried to have a two-state situation, and it didn't work out. Of course, it doesn't work out because they both say it is their land. Okay. I have the timeline down broken into that, but I won't go into that because that's a little bit too detailed. Now, I want to talk about Hezbollah because I didn't know about Hezbollah. Okay. And that is a Lebanese group. Lebanon is sitting right on top of Israel. They fight all the time. Okay. Now, Hezbollah is a group within Lebanese, and it is somewhat of a political military group. Now, Lebanon has their own military. However, they are separate from Hezbollah. Okay. Hezbollah is a religious political armed group. Some think Hezbollah is a terrorist group deeply connected to the politics of Lebanon. Hezbollah is more armed than the Lebanese military. And since they're having this war with Lebanon, the military has moved away from the border. They're not. So, what is the point of the military in Lebanon? It's really interesting how that's very interesting. Anyway, but they take orders. This Hezbollah group takes orders from Iran. They don't have military bases too. So that's why that pager, if you know anything about the pagers, I talked about that before. That's why the pagers was such a big deal, because they didn't have, Israel couldn't just bomb their military base. They don't have one. So they had to sneak and give them pagers, and then they did bombs for the pagers. I've discussed that. I did the astrology on that. So that is how that is too. Now, they also are connected to Gaza. Gaza is a part of this Hezbollah group. There's corruption with this causing 80% of the country in poverty. Okay. So Hezbollah, because they're pretty much in charge. There is a lot of corruption with the system, and I don't even think. Oh, well, whatever. Lebanese is so poor. It's such a third world country. 80% of their population is in poverty. Okay. Now, Hassan Nasrallah. I apologize if I say the name wrong. Okay. He was the leader of Hezbollah for 30 years. 1982, Israel invaded Lebanon. Israel said they were going to just get rid of the Palestinians that were in Lebanon, but that wasn't true. They came, they stayed, they occupied the land, and Hezbollah was created. Okay. So, in my theories, from reading all the research, the little research, and it just took about a day of researching, it seems like Israel just comes and takes over. My personal opinion, if you got some more information, go ahead and tell me, but it seems like they say one thing, do another. I'll break that down in astrology. So 2000, around 2000, Hezbollah won back the land that they came and Israel tried to come and take over. They came back and won. Now, August 4th, 2024, a nuclear bomb happened in Beirut, I think, is in Lebanon. I just want you to understand it was huge. That was a big deal. Israel killed, this is separate, but that was a huge bomb. I'm not sure why that happened. I don't understand why they didn't explain. I feel like people are kind of confused about that. Maybe they're not. Maybe I got to do a little more deeper look into that. But it was almost like the second biggest bomb we've experienced in this world. So that was really big. I mean, this was August 2024. What was I doing? Why? I probably saw this in the news and just went about my business. I just think that is crazy. Anyway, Israel killed Hassan Nasrallah, and a lot. This happened very recent, okay? And this could have happened with the eclipse, okay? Because the eclipse in Pisces happened. This happened between that eclipse. This happened very recently. This was a huge deal. That's when Iran was like, F that, we got to step in, okay? Hezbollah fights Israel and said that they won't stop until Israel steps back from Gaza, okay? Oh, I do have a picture here. Let me see how I have pictures in my notes, but for some reason, the picture won't let me close. Okay, let me see if I can take this picture and show you guys. I'm trying to make it bigger. Okay, let me just actually look up the internet. I want to show you guys. Give me some patience here because I move a little bit slow with multitasking with technology because I want to be very careful that I'm not turning off the let me see, map. What should I type in? Map with Israel and Iran. I wish, okay, here we go. All right, so let me show this map here. Let me, Viva, why is that song in my head? Viva Las Vegas. Okay. Okay, hold on. Here we go. We're gonna pull up this window and we are going to show this map here. Where is the map? Here we go. Bam. Okay, so here is the map here, okay? Now you see Israel is here. Here's Lebanon sitting right on top. Yemen is involved in this, okay? Syria and Iraq, I don't know Iraq if they're as involved, but they are. Jordan used to own the West Bank. Egypt used to own Gaza. They had a war. They lost it. Israel took over, okay? Iran, look how huge Iran is compared to Israel. I mean, who would not me. I'm not. Do you see the difference? Anyway, yeah. So just want to quickly show you that map for the people who are new like me to all this situation. It's the leader of Israel is Netanyahu. Okay, right, and he's got his drama with the country, okay? Since 2019, he was charged with fraud and corruption. We'll get a little bit into that. Not his chart. I'll break that down another day, but just the country's chart, okay? Yemen occupies a strategic position at the entrance of the Red Sea, and they have a problem. Okay, so let me bring back up this map, okay, to show you guys. Okay, so Yemen is a part of this gang here. Okay. It's a part of this gang, this gang. I'm not sure if they're in the gang. Okay. But they are definitely in the gang. And when I say this big group, this big Muslim group, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're Muslim. So, but I'm surprised why they're okay. Anyway, that's a different lesson. Now, if you see here, Yemen, if I wish I can zoom this in, but Yemen has this red port entry here, and that affects how they trade. Okay. Now, because, okay, let me see, it controls, I can't pronounce it. It's Bob Ella. Okay, whatever. It's Israel's outlet to the Indian Ocean and the Far East, which increases its importance to the eyes of Israel's strategists. So they basically are like, they're in charge of our trade. And Yemen is, because they're a part of this group, are like, no, we are going to cut off your resources. Okay, so now that we said, I hope you understand a little bit of the history of that. Okay. I cut a lot of things down. Like I cut down the two state Israel and Palestine. Let me just say it quickly that the two state is about how they divided Israel. It was supposed to be the agreement on simply splitting it, supposedly, but they didn't do it. The Palestine territories are under Israeli military occupation. That's not splitting. And that's why me getting this information is like, where's the fairness in this now? But looking at the videos of what someone who is from Israel or Jewish, how they are trained to think is that they are here to take over. This is their homeland. I think religiously too, they believe that they are God's people and no one else matters. Okay. I'm thinking this is how if you are brought up to think this way, then you think you are owed all the land. Okay. The Palestinian territories are under I said that military. The West Bank of Israel had 700,000 settlers living in Palestinian land. This was supposed to be the Palestine's area, and it's such a small area. But not only is it not their area, but it's given to, and I saw a whole documentary of how they were taking Muslim people out of their home and giving it to Israelis. It was so sad. And they didn't even put them anywhere. And then they said, well, if the Palestinians just go through the paperwork process, then they can get the land too. But they were denied permits, denied rights. It's insane. Okay. So that's basically the two state situation. Okay. Now let's talk about astrology. Okay. Now we can get in some things that I do know about. Okay. And let me see. Let me pull back up my chart here. And let me have a sip of water. So now we have Israel, right? We're going to break down Israel. Because Israel, you can break down a country, a state, a city. It has a personality just like a human, okay? First of all, Israel is a Libra rising. So Israel is all about Libra is usually about negotiations, just so you know. I don't know if we see that or if there's control of negotiations here. But Libra energy is about negotiation, being fair and being diplomatic, just so you know, right? Balance and equality and justice. Now, if it's not doing great, if it's living in a negative, it is not being fair. It's not having justice, okay? And negotiations, or what negotiations? So you do have that. Now, how come I don't have its rising? Oh, the rising is 23 degrees. 20 degrees on itself is quincunx the sun. Quincunx meaning it's very uncomfortable with being harmonious and fair. Okay. I just want you to know that. Okay. Now, let me keep breaking down what else we have. Seventh house. Okay. I do want to say that the seventh house, which represents its open enemies, also represents its alliances with like America. It's in the sign Aries. Okay. And when you have that, then you have either active partnerships or there's conflict with enemies. Okay. Aries is either super strong or a lot of conflict. Okay. Military alliances, which it does have with America. What else does it have? No, drive. That could be Aquarius, disagreements, war, aggression. All that is dealing with the Aries. Now, I do want to say, because we are dealing with a Libra rising, then that the 10th house is also important when you are discussing countries and nationalities. Now, the 10th house is important because it's in a sign Cancer. When you have Libra risings, any Libra rising, a person or a place, they have the 10th house being in a sign Cancer. And that is about your reputation. And your reputation is all about protecting your homeland. If you know what Cancer is, it's protecting your homeland, okay? Your home, your security. And we have some planets in here. We'll discuss that a little bit later. Well, actually, we have Venus. Venus is the planet, but Venus is the ruler of Libra. So Venus is very important. The ruler of the chart is very important of who you are, of how this nation is, okay? Now, this is a time that I have for it. Just want you to know, May 14th, 1948. I got it online. It seems pretty accurate from what I'm going, okay? Venus, the ruler of the ascendant, is in that 10th house. So the reputation, the public image is huge, okay? And having a safe environment and being serious about your home is huge. Now, it's squaring Neptune. Neptune is in that first house, is a big part of its identity. And just a little bit about that is that this country is all about their religion. This country is also has some confusion on why you have certain partnerships, aka a relationship with America. I'm an American citizen. I did some research on why we are in a relationship with Israel. Israel is so tiny. What are we getting from them other than them saying that we share the same values? I don't, maybe the values to take over, that could be the shared value. Also, this is enemies of people who are dealing with religion, and you can tell religion is the division of these enemies here. So that is a big part of their identity. It's retrograding. Anytime the planet is retrograding, it's not doing its best. Okay. So, like, compassion here is what is lacking. Okay. Now we have Venus that's supposed to be compassionate, squaring this, squaring Neptune and Libra. Okay. So, clarity in this is not happening. Maybe emotionally dependent on a partnership is serious. Okay. Our secrets within the partnership is a thing, which I can see with America. Our secrets with an enemy. This is not really an enemy. This is more the partnership of the homeland. Okay. Venus is also opposing their Jupiter. And this basically means with Israel, everything is too big. These are very positive planets. Their positive planet, Jupiter, is retrograding. Again, I don't find retrogrades being the best. It's a lot of hard work, or it's working in the upside down. I find that they are like reverse and tarot. So this optimism or this overabundance of something is either too overabundant or too optimistic, okay? Because that's what this planet represents. This is a benefic planet, meaning it's positive. This is a benefic planet, meaning it's positive, and they don't see eye to eye. They're on the opposite side of the chart. So this huge independence and big dreams and freedom and personal growth is conflicting with each other, okay? Especially when it comes to the homeland versus the bigger picture. Okay, so I would say that this is not good for a country. The thought of expanding a homeland, it's not really working, and they can't see eye to eye. That is basically what that is saying, and this is in the chart. Okay. I also want to say that Jupiter is quincunx Mars. Quincunx means that it feels uncomfortable or there is tension. Mars is the planet of war and how they fight. It's in the sign Leo. They have a stallion of Leo, so they certainly don't have a fear in controlling anything. Okay. But Mars being uncomfortable with this energy, so the expansion of something and you fighting for the expansion, because Jupiter means expansion, is not really working. Okay. So the broadening their horizons, there's confrontation anytime they broaden, because Jupiter in Sagittarius is broadening your horizons, and there's confrontation with it. Okay. Now, Neptune, let me go back to Neptune being in our first house. It's retrograding. So the themes of your identity and your perception and being diplomatic, there could be some illusions there. Okay. Having some national harmony and peace and fairness, not really working. Confusions, are there some secrets happening? Okay. Now, I do want you to understand Libra does represent agreements, agreements with countries. There could be some misunderstandings, some deceptions, some secrets. Neptune to me, just so this is a conspiracy, okay, everyone get their aluminum foil hats. Also, I find that Neptune in this with this country particular, okay? Neptune with agreements can also represent sexuality or hidden things, okay? So when you have this Epstein situation, which they say there were ties to the Jewish mafia, this could be a possibility. I just want you to understand, okay? Hopefully that is not something I just had to say for the chat. But there's also lack of clarity and transparency that could be happening. Lack of transparency. The government actions or policies are not fully understood, or there's deceitfulness happening. Okay. Yeah. So just be aware that periods of nations reflections is huge with this too, are the dream of something, because there's looking through things in a rose colored lens when it comes to how they are perceived in their identity is also dealing with that. Now, this country has a Taurus sun. Ignore this fixed star that is dealing with the hurricane I was mentioning earlier. But the sun in Taurus means that any Taurus sun wants stability. They want things to stay the same. They're focused on tradition. And you have that a lot with Israel. They're really focused on their tradition. Now, but look, it's in the eighth house. And the eighth house is about secrets. It's also dealing with finances. There could be a lot of loss, a lot of crisis, a lot of change. Okay, things that are very taboo, things that are very hidden, things that are very mysterious. Again, I was discussing that a little bit here. It gets a little bit darker with that eighth house. I want you to understand that there could be a link to this. Okay, I don't want you to be a fool on the conspiracy theories. We do have a Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune and Pisces are going to bring the conspiracy theories out and really tell you what is the truth. What are the things that are really hidden there? Whatever conspiracy theories are with this country, there could be some truth to it, because it's also dealing with how they have their resources and their money. I just want you to know their self-worth is linked to financial and emotional power. Strong sense of a rebirth too is what you have with this eighth house, which makes sense with the Zionists coming in and saying, let's start over. Okay. Now, the sun in Taurus is squaring their war planet, that war planet, Mars and Leo. Conflicts between being stable, having that bow action, power struggles with leadership, because Leo represents leaders. Okay. Stubborn aggression, tension between their economic goals, because this is all about their economy. Okay. And the military and aggression, their policies, there could be some tension there. Okay. Whenever you have a square, there is a huge challenge. Okay. Aggressive when it comes to their money, aggressive when it comes to their resources. Okay. Risk of overextending military or economic ventures. Taurus also is an earth sign, so it is dealing with what they deem valuable, intangible things like land. Okay. Now they have Mercury. Israel has Mercury in the sign Gemini, and it is about spreading the news, talking a lot, emphasis on communication and media, trade and commerce, very active in the business sector, strong educational focus. I wonder how they are with their youth and teaching their youth. A lot of research centers probably in our land, or books or libraries. Adapts well to new information. This is a very mutable energy. It can learn new things, do new things. It can multitask, so it can fight this person over here and fight that person over there, or think about this enemy over there and think about that enemy. That's more what the Mercury is. It's thinking. A lot of telecommunication, a lot of journalists, a lot of internet kind of situation. And there could be a duality or a complexity in the national energy of how they communicate in Israel. Okay, so also the focus of youth. I wonder how they are with youth. Yeah, so that's what we have. Now, I do want you to understand that there could be some gossip and manipulation happening when you have that Mercury and Gemini. Now, their Mercury is trining Neptune in Libra. So that means that they really can communicate a lot of things dealing with secret and deception. It really works with them. So the things that they say, or the things that they write down in agreements, really works with them with being deceptive or illusions or secrets or hidden matters, just so you know. Okay. That really works really good with them. Now, Mercury is also sextile Pluto. Now, if this was something in the sky and I was doing like predictions and I was saying your weekly astrology, a sextile is something you have to work at. Now, when you're dealing with a nation, they work with this sextile a lot. Okay. So this is something that I would say that it work with. And what does it work with? Pluto is the bigger secrets, and it works with them, especially with the leader. If the leader is being secretive, when it comes to communication, it really works for them if they really use it. And I find that they've been probably secretive for a long time. Leaders do have to be secretive, and there's a lot of mysteries with them. But this also could represent some investigation when it comes to things they have to think about and control. Now, because Pluto also represents control and being obsessed with power. Now we have the stallion and Leo. Okay. So there is a strong, strong focus on their leadership, a strong, strong focus on them being Israel, very like strong national pride. Okay. But this is also dealing in that 12th house. Oh, I just want to say there's a lot of ego and pride here. Just so you know, power with pride, limitation with their pride, fighting with their pride, being emotional about their pride. Okay. Just and also very dramatic. Okay. Leo energy is very dramatic. And now you have that maybe overbearing leadership, a very prideful leader. Okay. Just so you know that that's what that happens here. Now, in 11th house is dealing with groups, could be dealing with some politics of some sort. Okay. But some type of team here. This is what that 11th house represents with this country. Now, Pluto is also conjunct Saturn. This right here, seeing this is a lot of power structures, a lot of power with governments, a lot of authority, kind of leadership and control, struggles with control and power, being obsessed with power, power and limitations. Okay. Power with older men or elders or things that are from this that last a long time. Okay. National identity being defined by their strength, being defined by limitations, which we have the major limitations that they put on Palestine. Crisis driven too with transformation. So if there's a crisis and we got to handle it, we can change it, and we're great with that. Okay. Challenges with the egos and leadership, you get that in the rebirth of a nation and the structure of a nation, because this is about transformation. And it works with that with limitations. It's very strong energy. It's good and bad, good and bad, but whatever it is, it's very strong. So it's very determined. It's very a lot of pressure, a lot of force. Could be very dark energy. Pluto is very dark with the limitations. So I just want you to know that that is what it has. Now it also has a moon in Leo. So again, that national pride and feeling that and feeling strong with it. Challenges with the ego and the arrogance, emotional leadership could be happening. He could just be reacting as a leader and being very emotional. It's conjunct that Pluto. Again, power, obsession with power. Leo is the sign of leadership. This country is profound on transformations, and relating to their leadership could be a big thing too. Also, the progress of releasing is huge with them. So releasing a lot of things is dealing with this. I just want you to know, because that's what that Pluto represents. And then you have the sun releasing the emotions of that. But it's very intense. Pluto is very, very intense, and it's touching the moon, it's touching Saturn, leadership, secrets, transformation, all that. Okay. Quickly, the 10th house in a sign Cancer and Venus. Let me go back to that. There's a strong focus on family and domestic affairs and traditions and emotional bonds, protecting the family, protecting their homeland, protecting their heritage. A lot of that energy. Yeah. So and this is also about their reputation, right? And Cancer also looks in the past, so a lot of support when looking in the past. So the discussion of Holocaust, anytime you discuss that Holocaust, they get support. I just want you to know that that is like so dead on there in regards to their reputation. Okay. I just want you to know this is also about partnerships and also about aesthetics too. I don't know if Israel looks nice. Maybe something in the past. There's something with aesthetics with this too. Okay. Now Venus is also squaring that, and I told you that. Okay. So that is what we have for Israel and breaking down Israel, the country. When looking at its chart, it is like, wow, the leader, personal. This is just my personal opinion. Everyone just needs to leave that country. They need to discuss with an astrologer when it is best. Also, too, if we look at their north node here, this is their south node. If we look at their south node of secrets, occults, you know, they need to release that energy. They need to release that energy of trying to be controlling. It needs to be released. The energy of focusing on their land should be a thing that they are looking forward to. However, it's writing. The nodes always retrograde. But yes, finding a home, finding what you seem valuable is important. However, but having control of it is what they need to release. Just so you know that that is the ultimate goal that they need to work on. Now, I'm going to talk about Palestine. Okay, so we discussed Israel. So now I'm going to break down Palestine real quick, okay? First of all, Palestine is a Leo rising. It is somewhat like Trump. Just so you know, if you know anything about Donald Trump, they have this similarity. He is a Leo rising. This country is a Leo rising. So a strong sense of identity far as their culture, there's cultural pride. They want some leadership. I'm not sure if they have one. That can be more broken down with their rising. But the sun is representing Leo, and Leo is over here in the sign Scorpio, and there's a lot of death and transformation with them being far as like the leader and their pride. Okay, now their seventh house, because we're dealing with a Leo rising, is Aquarius. Remember, it's the same as Trump. But that means that whoever they are fighting against wants their independence, first of all, also is probably good with technology. I just want you to know it's very intelligent enemy to have, an open enemy to have. Technology advancement is what you have now. But Aquarius, far as also with partnerships, is dealing with the collective's rights. They're progressing. There's a lot of humanitarian energy too. So this also explains Iran and our partnership with Iran, because this is also a partnership deal. So Iran has a lot of humanitarian energy towards them. Okay. I don't know much. I just know the information that I gave you. I just want to explain what astrology represents. Now, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So if you want to know about their enemies, if you want to know about their partners, then you have to look at the rulers. It's very strong in the sign Capricorn. To do the predictions, you should look at the traditional ruler, but I look at both just in case. I just want you to know that Saturn is at 0 degrees. This is their enemy. This is also their partnerships. So this represents Iran, and this also represents Israel. That is a very strong government there. It's very potent. 0 degrees is like the strongest energy ever. And then Saturn is in its home, Capricorn's in his home sign, Saturn. So very long-term energy, very traditional energy, very restrictive and very strict and very serious, very cold energy. Okay, and you get that from both. Okay, Taurus represents persistence, material security. And you have that. Now, I do want to say, talk about their 10th house, because the 10th house does represent Palestine and their public image. That's dealing with Taurus energy. So then you go on and look at the ruler of Taurus, and it's Venus in the sign Libra in the third house. It just seems like their public image, that third house, it seems like there's something with communication. I don't know. Do they communicate? I'm not sure. I don't know anything about that. Let me know what you guys think. But their public image in Taurus is thinking about long term, and then there's some long term struggle for their land. It's all about their land when you have Taurus. It's an earth sign. It wants stability. It wants to be prosperous in their land. And it seems like that public image is all about their land, that Gaza Strip. And then also you have the West Bank. That's what you have there. Now, also, too, if you want to see how they fight, we have Mars in a sign Aries. Very brave energy. The land Palestine, the country Palestine, these people are very brave as a country. Okay. Fire sign is aggression. It's very intense. It's very brave. Okay. Now let me see what else we have with here. The fourth house of home. No, but let me just say that Mars is working with really optimism here. So they're very optimistic with fighting. Even though they're losing, it seems like as a country, they're still going to be very optimistic. Okay. Just so you know that. The fourth house is in Scorpio, which represents their heritage, their home, their national foundations. And with Scorpio, I would think that, first of all, this is a fixed sign. Their home, they have a lot of transformation, a lot of changes, high numbers of deaths. Okay. And it being, these two are conjunct on the news all the time. but there's transformation, there's struggle, there's conflict, but there's a resilient spirit there with their homeland, and reclaiming a homeland is a huge thing with them. Okay, that stallion, that Scorpio stallion, is huge, and I would say there's always transformation in their land. If this was my land, I would change. I would change. We will get a new Independence Day, get a new chart, because there's power struggles huge here. Okay, surviving an upheaval and rebirth and rebuilding is like their main focus. And Scorpio energy is a lot of deaths, a lot of endings. Yeah, so that is what you have there. Let me see. A lot of struggling on the land. Their sun is in Scorpio, their core identity. That's what the sun represents. And it's in the sign Scorpio. It's conjunct all these planets. So reinventing yourself, having the strength to withstand adversity is positive in a sign Scorpio. But with that Pluto energy, it's just a lot of rebirth of the homeland. Okay, now you have here their south node of releasing the work, releasing the cleansing, releasing, because it's in the sign Virgo, in that second house of resources, what they deem valuable. So to me, they have to let go of the land. They need to work on a rebirth with also the spirituality of something. But the eighth house in the north, that's a rebirth too. Yeah, so this is, they need to give up the land too. Okay, but there's a lot of national pride. Holding on to what is considered sacred also is what you get, because you have that sun is conjunct the IC. Their sense of their identity is all about their homeland. And yeah, but it's in the sign Scorpio, so there's a lot of power struggles here. Okay, yeah, the Mercury is in that sign Scorpio, so their communication, all that is about power. All that is about going, being in secret and having hidden motives. And it just makes me think a lot of things they have to do is in secret, which makes sense because they have all that military base, all that military control in their countries. Okay, yeah, but just Pluto alone, it's about transformation, it's about power, it's about power struggles, power and control, rebirth, crisis, upheavals, regeneration, long-term struggles too. I mean, because you're dealing with that fixed energy, losing sight of the bigger picture, because now you have Pluto conjunct Mercury. It's just a lot of uncovered hidden truths too. A lot of mystery, a lot of obsession, a lot of mistrust. Okay, now something that's bigger than everything too is that Saturn in 0 degree in Capricorn. This means a lot of limitations to the strongest degree. It's the purest. Okay, I mean, because not only are we dealing with the 0, but Capricorn is in a home Saturn, so a lot of limitation, huge, a lot of hard work, a lot of hard lessons. And it's conjunct Saturn, so there's spirituality connected to it. There's some type of religion. We already know the religion connected to it, and the religion is evolving the government. The government and the religion go hand in hand when you have this, but the restrictions are so big, and sometimes the restrictions are confusing. Okay, so that is what you have here. Currently, the conjunction, you have Pluto in currently right now in the sky. Pluto is in the sign Capricorn, and this is what we have here. So this is triggering for all this. So when Pluto was getting closer, actually, let me put, just so we can know, um, current transits, right? Okay, so where is it? So Pluto is in the sign Capricorn, and when it was starting, this was bigger than ever. Okay, Pluto is sitting on top of their moon. This moon represents their people. Okay, and restrictions, and now it's stirring up a lot of stuff, retrograding. And when it hit it at first, let me do it for the weeks. Because I was oblivious to it. When it left and went to Aquarius, I want you to understand that gave power to their open enemies. Also gave power to their alliances too. Just so you know, so when Pluto goes into Aquarius, that's what you get. But when it moves on back in the day, back where we're talking about 2023, this was sitting on their moon of insecurity and their people and change there. Okay, just so you know, so that Pluto currently in the sky, when you hear any astrologers talk about Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto in Capricorn, that has a big effect on Palestine. Okay, Mars. Okay, let me just remove that real quick. Let me know if I'm giving too much information. If you guys are enjoying this, please, you guys, thumbs up. If you are listening to this podcast, download this video. That actually this episode, it helps me out. If you are um watching this on X, I don't know, heart it, actually, let me just throw this little disclaimer out right now. Yeah, show me some love. Anyway, but back to Palestine real quick. Their Mars, the planet of their war and their fighting, is squaring Saturn, that strong planet that I was just talking about, at 0 degrees. Squaring is no bueno. It is a challenge, okay? So conflict with them fighting and being limited, and there's frustrations and delays and conflict with any type of government and authority, any type of leadership, any kind of structure, anything dealing with long-term and responsibility. It doesn't work when they are fighting, okay? A lot of lessons, a lot of patience, a lot of discipline. Also, it's squaring that Uranus. Expect the unexpected. Anytime there is a surprise, they really cannot fight. That's what that represents, okay? Anytime they're rebelling, anytime they're standing for a cause of the people, for some reason, it doesn't line up with their sense of fighting and war, okay? Risk of any risk taking, any time they're being impulsive, it doesn't work with their planet of fighting and being independent in war. Just so you know what it represents. So they definitely need to heavily rely on the team, and the team is who I explained earlier: Yemen, Lebanon, and Iran. Okay, but they do need to let go of their land. Just straight up, they both, Israel and Palestine. Apologies to anyone who's offended by that. That's just I'm just telling you what the astrology says. The South Node means what you need to release in this lifetime, and it's in the second house of land. Okay. Now let me talk about Iran. Iran's a big part of this too. So let's break down Iran real quick, and then I will get into some predictions. But first, I want to talk about America and Iran. But after I talk about Iran, okay? Now, Iran was always called Iran by people who lived in Iran. I think Persia, from my readings, was first came by from the Greeks. They called them Persia, and later by other European countries, they referred Persia to Iran, but Iran has always been called Iran to people who are from Iran. So I will be using Iran. Of course, Persia left a long time ago, but I just want you to understand. Now, I have some timeline with them, and I'm trying to see if I should say that. It gets a little intense. 1905 Constitution. I had to explain why I chose this chart. When picking a chart for countries, it seems really hard, but it seems like the astrologers like this chart the best because it really works with the eclipse and predictions with the eclipse. So that's why I chose this chart. If you see another chart for Iran, I'm giving you that reason on why I chose. Now, again, we got another Donald Trump nation, meaning that it is a Leo rising, okay? Same as Palestine, same as Donald Trump, but a lot of pride in their country, a lot of pride and loyalty to what they identify as themselves, okay? Now, that seventh house also is dealing with their enemies and their alliances. So either their alliances may not be tech savvy, but they're really smart and they're very different in how they approach things. Now they're also dealing with their enemies, has a lot of technology. We already know that, right? Yeah, that is what you have. And let me see, the 10th house is also going to represent the country's public image and a reputation and global standing, and it's ruled by Taurus. So that means that they're really into stability and their security and their resources. And our resources is oil. Okay. So we do have a strong thing. Now, what represents oil is Pisces. So they have a lot of obsession and control with that Pisces energy, which also is the energy of oil, just so you know. But very persistent in their reputation, very material. Security is big with their reputation. Now they have a sun in Aries. Sun in Aries, the core identity and their purpose, and it is to be strong, it is to be aggressive, it's to be number one. Okay. And the sun is also the ruler of the chart. It's opposing some power of relationships, open enemies. It's not quite getting working together. Just so you know, it could be a little too controlling, or also not dealing great with the power of their relationships as well. Okay, the stallion in that 8th house of Pisces. Why do I have Cancer here? 12 houses. Okay, okay. Stallion opposing. Oh, okay. Oh, I talked about the oil. Oh, I want to say they have Jupiter in that house of secrets here. What is that? What are they up to? Also, the 12th house can represent oil and Jupiter and abundance of their homeland. Huge with oil. That's why they have that oil. But house, all these planets here, that stallion in that 8th house is all about transformation, crisis, regeneration. It could be dealing with power, obsession with power, secrets. Could be dealing with some spirituality, religion. Huge. It seems like anytime they're fighting, they're going to use religion as a cause. It makes sense with these placements. Discuss religion as a cause. Now, Mercury's retrograding. So we're going to be aware of the retrograde, meaning that it's not quite working on what they can do. Now, they also have here, you see here, they also have the same nodes here too, but it's opposite. So the north node is that they need to release what they deem valuable in this lifetime. And the south node is that they need to focus on their spirituality and religion. It's very interesting what the countries have. We should do America, right? Mars in Pisces in the 8th house, hidden are maybe spiritual conflict, indirect convert, hidden motives, strategic, maybe behind the scene actions where you have that, secret negotiations, covert operations, shared resources with partnerships, could be more religious in when they are trying to fight and do things. Venus in the sign Pisces, you get a lot of compassion, empathy, but boundaries are a little like you can't see it. Okay. Also with finances and shared resources and territory, all those things you cannot see, right? Historically, that's south, that's their north node. I always get south node. Sorry, did I say that was the south node? Yeah, yes, I did. Okay. So their south node in that 8th house too is a historical connection to power, struggles, crisis, shared resources and alliances. They need to release it. Okay. Secrecy, power in negotiations. Yeah, all that oil, all that is big with them. We already know. The moon is in Gemini in that 11th house, and you get emotional needs, you get public sentiment, collective consciousness with the people and communicating. Okay, now this is I wonder if they can't even, the people can't even communicate, if the government, because it's squaring Saturn here, the government. So I wonder if there is some type of limitation for the people. I don't know anything about Iran, but that is what I have. Okay, so that is what we have for the breakdown of Iran. Whoever the open enemies are, and we'll get into the predictions in a minute. They're different. Okay, they also deal with a group. They believe in a team. They believe in friendships and alliances. Okay, now I want to talk about Israel and America. Okay, let me pull up America's chart here, and we are going to connect it to Israel. And then I'm going to put up a commercial, and it's really because I have to use the restroom because I'm drinking a lot of water. Okay, and then we'll talk about the predictions. Okay, so just so you know the agenda real quick. Now, Israel and USA in their birth chart, right? Now, there is a strong there's a strong, oh, this is Iran. Hold on. Let me put up Israel. The reason why I want to put up Israel, because I did not understand why are we helping Israel. Okay. There's Libra energy here, very strong kind of energy. The 10th house of Israel, which is governed by the public standing, the authority, the reputation. We have our Venus conjunct here. I mean, if you are someone who is like, we are America first, if you are someone like, why are we funding them? Stop giving them money. It doesn't look like that's going to stop. Okay. A lot of unions with this, and it's on top of each other. It looks like this relationship, which we're serious about our relationships here, they're very big, is huge, and it's going to stay here. Just telling you what I have here. Now, Israel's sun in that 8th house of secrets and power, and Neptune is let me see, sextile trine, no, square, trine. Okay, these things are working together. And this, their sun with our Neptune is the secrets. We have the secrets, and they could be our hidden enemies to the public, and they have the power here. I just want you to know that there's a heavy influence here, and it's working very good for somebody. Looks like it could be working really good for our hidden enemies. Okay, this is the things that are unseen. These are things that are hidden. This could be dealing with religion. That country is very religious. Neptune in Virgo creates tensions between practical concerns and idealism. Virgo is very precise, is very detailed. Neptune blurs the boundaries, is very ambiguous. And that 12th house can indicate confusion, misunderstandings, clarities, lack of clarity, not clarities, and hidden enemies, deception, illusions. Yeah, so there could be some hidden agendas here, some secrets, and it works really good with how they need to pursue their identity, not their identity, pursue their goals in life. I just want you to understand that to me made sense. And it definitely works with the thought of why I'm like, why are we working with Israel? I'm sorry, personally, I just don't see why America is working with Israel. We don't have the same religion. America was based on Christian values. Now America is saying Christian Judaism values. But I remember, you cannot erase the memory of me going to school. Okay, I don't care what they say now. You cannot erase it. I'm not saying that this is in disrespect to anybody who is Jewish. I just know what I was taught at school. Prayer, one nation under God. This is what was discussed. And this does not make sense with our relationship to Israel. I don't know what we benefit from Israel, other than they keep saying we share the same values. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, far as our partnership, we look at what we have in that 7th house. And also, we looked at Venus, which I told you the partnership is going to be there. It's going to be strong, even though it makes no sense to me. Libra is sitting here with restrictions and secrets. That is the ruler. This is the ruler of Libra. And I just think that there's restrictions for us and who we are, and they have the restrictions. I mean, we are restricted, and they have the secrets. That's just what I think. Okay. Now, USA has IC in Aries and Chiron in the 7th house. I mean, there's some roots here with IC maybe, or maybe aggression. Maybe a desire to protect the homeland is what you get here, and this represents our home, and we have to stay strong. It's in this relationship thing. I find that this Venus, this correlation here is really strong with that. Okay. Now I did talk about the relationship here, the philosophies. USA's Mars is in Gemini. It's in, okay, where it's in their 9th house. Okay, because how we fight, we communicate with our words. That's how America, USA fights. I need to break down USA's chart on its own. I didn't do that for this video because the only thing is that we are, I mean, it's big that we are funding Israel, but I think the reason why we are funding is because there's some secrets. It definitely helps them out, but I think it's some secrets. Now, Cancer, yeah, this is, yeah, I just feel like we have a lot of power with their image and their philosophy and how they do it. I mean, with their image and their reputation. But it's something here. My intuition never lies. Anyway, but Mars rules the military, and there's a lot of strategic things, a lot of things with Uranus is out of the box technology. We help them with that, and we communicate with that. A lot of trade, a lot of things, maybe giving them money and they have to trade back with us, is what that all represents. This is all the same too, and discussing it. Yeah, a lot of things with technology to help them pursue things with the military is what we have. Okay. Let me see if I have anything else with that I can think of. No, USA's Neptune in Virgo. Okay, I said that. 12th house. I said that. Okay. Yeah. If you have any questions about USA, I can go a little bit deeper with Israel, but that is what I have in my notes quickly. I do want to say that eclipse was in the 1st house, and that right there, 10 degrees. I've discussed this in the past, but when you have a 10 degrees, when there is an eclipse, let me actually go to the eclipse. Actually, let's pull the eclipse. Let's move America out, and we'll go back. Oops, let me pull this to the days. Oh, Oh, I can't see it. Here we are. The second is when we had the eclipse. This happened in that first house. This is huge. It also happened in 10 degrees, which is a Capricorn degree. So you're talking about long-term energy, long-term goals. You're talking about restrictions, leadership, government, and you have leader, they killed him. You have also dealing with partnerships and teams. You have all that. You have your open enemy. All these themes of the eclipse, huge. Now look at this. 10 degrees, 10 degrees is sitting right on top of their Neptune at 10 degrees. Okay, I looked up the Sabian symbol, which is also dealing with degrees in Libra, and let me just tell you what it means. It means three old masters hanging in an art gallery. It's dealing with a cord, give or grant someone power, integration, the three souls of Plato schemes: mind over intellect, feeling or emotion, and habit over instinct or instinct. The master symbolized the past of our heritage, standing on the shoulders of the giants who came before us. We sit about their heritage. We look forward. Okay, yada yada yada. It's about unity, affinity, relationships, harmony, and heritage. That is what this eclipse in these degrees represent. And it's sitting there on top of that Neptune. Heritage and secrets of the heritage, being deceptive of the heritage in that degree with partnerships. Yeah, so we're gonna see what continues on with that. I just want you to know what that's what that symbol represents, that degree. Now, currently, so this eclipse was huge, a lot of news, a lot, a killing of leaders. All eclipse could represent a killing of a leader, just so you know. Killing of a relationship, killing of an open enemy, all that you have. This Neptune also represents deaths and secrets. So that all makes sense what happened. Now Venus entered Scorpio. Where's my Venus in the sky? Venus is entering Scorpio, is getting closer to all these planets here. When it entered the third house and it's sitting on top of that, I always get the nodes mixed up. The south node. I always get the north node. I don't know why. My brain can't compute it. Anyway, it's sitting on top of that south node. Intense focus on wealth and resources, transformation, love of secrecy and financial matters, power struggles, jealousy over money. It's time to let go of this. This is what it's saying, and that is currently what is happening during this eclipse. As the eclipse was happening, Pluto was retrograding in the sign Capricorn as the eclipse was happening. And this is also going to carry out for the next 6 months. That's why I'm telling you what's currently happening, right? Pluto in that fourth house of home, power, and government and control. Also opposing their MC, their reputation, limitation. All that is affecting them and what we think. Neptune, Saturn in that sixth house. Where am I? Where are my notes? Neptune and Saturn is also in that sixth house. But let me just say this real quick. Pluto opposing their image, the government and restrictions and pulling out the secrets and mystery of their image is coming out currently with this eclipse happening. Neptune and Saturn in that sixth house of organization, works, and limitations. All that is affecting with them in regards to secrets, conspiracy theories, okay, and also religion. Uranus also, remember I talked about Uranus is conjunct that fixed star. I talked about that, about Trump, not about the hurricane. Look at it's sitting kind of close. The fixed star is not, but it's sitting on top of that sun. And when you have it, this is their sun and how they are trying to pursue things and expect the unexpected. Was it expected, unexpected that they had bombs being shot at them? No, I think that was completely planned. However, the technology of their stuff could be not working as they want to. Just that with that Uranus sitting there, okay? But this also is going to be a mass catastrophe. Remember that. Mars in a sign Cancer, is what we have here. Mars is about the war and the conflict and war at home. fighting at home, fighting their image of the war. Open enemies is in Aries. So that also is the ruler of this Mars. And when this Mars is pre-shadow retrograde, this is dealing with their public image. It's going to go over here in the sign Leo. It's going to affect some of these planets here. It's going to be retrograde in the sign Leo. This could be a death of a leader, death of their leader. Just so you know, that is what one of the predictions is. Okay. Now, when Mars moves back over here, then we're dealing with their reputation. Mars is the ruler of the 10th house. Let me see my notes. No, Mars is not the ruler of the 10th house. Oh, the moon is, though. And that moon also represents when they get here. So let's see. Also, when there's an Aries full moon. But yes, I didn't want to get too much into predictions, but now I'm about to get into predictions. But I have to use the restroom. So let me use the restroom real quick, and then we'll come into more of the predictions. Even though I touched it a little bit, but I'll be right back. Hello there, my beautiful souls. I am Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. Are you ready to take your spiritual journey to the next level? Introducing Danyell's Astro Tarot Elite Club, your exclusive getaway to daily insights, cosmic guidance, and so much more for just $4.99 a month. As a member, you'll receive daily readings designed to align your day with the universe's energy. Start each day with clarity and confidence. Do you need a personal reading, or do you want to have your astrology chart read fully? With being a member, you also can enjoy exclusive discounts on all my offerings just for our elite members only, all for just $4.99 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee. Join Danyell's Astro Tarot Elite Club today and elevate your spiritual path. Oh, I made it. Ooh-wee. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about some predictions. First of all, I want to tell you, I'm going to remove this here and just put up the chart. I do want you to understand that we have these two planets here in the sign Neptune, Pisces. These planets soon will be entering the sign Aries, okay? I want you to understand, when they enter Aries, we'll do it in months. We'll move it over. Where is it? Okay, they're still not in Aries. Hold on, let me move them to Aries. So Neptune moves into Aries 2025 of May. Saturn moves into Aries June 2025. So next year, okay? Let me move my things. I can't see you. I can only see the chart. Next year. Oh, did it do anything? I accidentally pressed a button. Next year, May and June, these two planets move into Aries. Aries energy is all about assertive, independence, being one, leadership, action, aggression, self-assertion, independence, military, war, being impulsive, a lot of warrior and protective energy. Okay. Now you have it when it's Saturn. First of all, when it's Neptune, you're going to feel like, one, that there's new beginnings happening. There's going to be a sense of feeling of that, but also a sense of war, a sense of aggression. All that is going to be for the collective. And when Saturn gets there and in a conjunct, that's even strong, a restriction, the government in war, everything that I said, limitations, long time war, okay? All that is going to be happening. Just so you know, that is the sense of the feeling of the future, okay? And anytime we have this and that happens in the middle of 2025, I'll get more detailed about that later. But anytime, because this is dealing with the collective, no matter where you are, you know, you could be like in Honduras, okay? This is going to be the feeling for you. But when this Mars gets over to Aries, it's going to get strong and there's going to be a lot of conflict and war. When it's Aries season with the sun, it's going to, and that's around April, okay? It's going to get a lot of energy with that too. A lot of fighting, a lot of war, a lot of just get ready for that. That's a separate video, but yes. Now I do want to tell you that Israel, I'm going to do a perfection year. And perfection year is basically I'm not going to pull a chart on it. It's when you can say like the age of something and what they are going to have. Now, the perfection year, actually, I am going to show it. I'm going to pull up Iran. Iran. We'll do Iran's future first. No, Israel. Sorry. We'll do Israel's future, and then you can do predictions with this when you do a perfection year. And you do it off the age, first of all. And let me see what I have in my notes right now. As of November, is Israel? Why do I have November for Israel? What was I doing? It says May, so this must be whose is did I confuse Israel with Iran? No. Where did I get that they're November? Why can't I think? No, November. What country is created in November? Palestine? No, okay. So I think, oh, they're my age. So it has to be Israel. Let me actually look it up. Perfection year. Perfection year is this. Okay, fourth house themes is what it says. Hold on. Let me look it up. I don't know if my notes are correct. And I'm gonna look up their perfection year real quick. Hold up. Wait a minute. And let me see. They are my age, okay? So they are 44. When is their birthday? April. As of April, they turn actually 45. Yes, April they turn 45. So that means the 10th house, the ruler of their 10th house is Venus. Okay, so the themes of 8th house energy for them is a lot of rebirth. This is Iran. This is not Israel. We're doing Iran first. A lot of rebirth for them. A lot of renewing of power are the themes, rebirth. A lot of joint ventures. Okay, so a lot of themes of their partner within this year. Next April, it will be something else. It will move into the next year, which I'll talk about that. But right now, you have that. Now, Venus is opposing their restriction, their government. So a lot of their partnerships is giving them a lot of restriction. This is going to last until the next year. Okay. Moving on to the next year when they turn 46, I just think it's funny. It's going to be dealing with Mercury, and Mercury, you look at their ruler. Where is Mercury? Same issues. They're going to be dealing with the joint venture. They're going to be dealing with obsession with power, a lot of deaths, a lot of rebirths, a lot of transformation for at least 2 years. Okay, let me see if I have their thing correct in my notes, because I know I get really more detailed. I didn't even know I can have separate windows in my notes. Hold on, wait a minute. Because I really had a lot of information with the predictions, and I just want to make sure it's correct. Let me scroll down here and look. I can't stand the silence of things. Okay, currently predictions. I talked about Aries, Israel. This is Iran. Okay, 10th house. Okay, so yeah, the Venus. Okay, yes. So I just want to say within this year until next April, Venus is in charge. Okay, Venus is about compassion. In the sign Pisces, it could be dealing with compassion with people in their relationships who have the same religion, which we are dealing with. There's also illusions here. I just want you to know it could be happening this year. Our partnerships with religion, our lack of boundaries with partnerships, and it's opposing Saturn. So I do want you to understand that Saturn means that there's restrictions or limitations. Saturn means that maybe they could be over supportive and there's a restriction with that, or long-term energy is not working. It is not looking good for the long term. I do want you to know that. Now, their Venus also is squaring their moon. So conflicts with their emotional sensitivity and the intellectual communication there, because you are dealing with Gemini. Struggles with their national unity, being religious, trying to work with religion, working with the people. The people might not have their support in them and their relationships with Gaza or Palestine, just so you know. Public sentiment and media challenges could be happening. There could be some financial instability happening, because you are dealing with finances here, happening with them. Social inequality or delusionment. Yeah, so this year is what we have. The people of the land may not agree with this partnership that they are doing. There is restriction here. And that is what we have for this year for them. Next year, it moves into the sign Gemini, which is dealing with Mercury. And Mercury is all about conflict and war because it's conjunct war. So they are still going to be fighting in the name of religion for them. Mercury, let me see if it's got any. Okay, sextile, square, trine. Ooh, it's very positive though when it comes to Jupiter. So more abundance with their homeland and their resources. In discussion of that could be happening. They could be expanding and communicating or thinking of expanding next year. Yeah. Oh, actually, too, let me pull a card for their future and the country too. Just so you know, let me see what else Mercury sextile square is squaring Neptune here. So the first year is dealing with partnerships, which we're currently in. Next year of 2026 of April is when they could be expanding in some sort. However, the discussion of war, the news of war is still bigger than ever, but it might work for them. But it's not working with some secrets or delusions that's happening here, just so you know. Let me see sextile square. Now we have for their future, it looks like we have some money coming our way. This is money. This is dealing with Iran in the future. Resources is all great for them. Now, far as their future, still very positive. They are caring about the people. They're caring about their group. They're caring about their team. There's a lot of faith here, and it's about their futures and their hopes. But it's also dealing with that Aquarius energy, which is dealing with their partnerships. Also could be dealing with their open enemies. But it seems like it's positive for them. That is what we have for Iran. Let me do Israel, and let's see what we have for Israel. Change the chart. I can't think now because I need to eat. Okay, Israel. Aries and Mars is a huge problem for them because it rules their open enemies. Okay, so when we have Aries in a full moon coming up October 17th, this is going to be big for Israel. Okay, we'll talk about that in detail, but just know October 17th, we have a full moon in Aries that is dealing with not only war, okay, for the collective, but it's also dealing with high emotions. In war and conflict as an individual and collectively, but Mars is in charge of their seventh house of enemies and partnerships. Okay, so that's going to be really big. Mars also is going to be retrograding in Leo and in a sign Cancer. That's going to affect them really big because it's ruling their seventh house of partnerships and enemies. So we'll see how that works out. Mars retrograding in that might be bad for their open enemies. Okay, just so you know, Aries season is also going to be really big for them. Aries season is actually going to give power to their open enemies and power to their partnerships, but not necessarily power to them. When Mars enters the sign Libra, it gives them more power. Okay, because this but Mars and Pluto, any Mars moving in here, it gives the power to them, just so you know, to their open enemies. Let me see. April 2025, Neptune enters Aries. That's going to be dealing with their open enemies. Remember, I talked about Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. Neptune moving in Aries is actually going to be probably good for Israel because you're dealing with their open enemies having some confusion or deceptions or maybe some insecurity. So that doesn't look great for the open enemies, but looks very positive for Israel. Now, when Saturn moves into Aries, there's some restriction, maybe restriction to the open enemy. So that is actually very positive for Israel. Okay, just so you know. Now, let me see. They are in May. I don't want to hold you up. I'm mad that I have the perfection year wrong. Let me see. Israel's perfection year. I'm gonna have to do it another time. Ooh, but I have some details here. Saturn's influence suggests that the enemy will be persistent. That could be happening. They could be disciplined. They could be thinking long term, or they could be restricted, or both. Okay. Restructuring international agreements, new approaches in conflict to resolution, power dynamics and relationships. April 2025, Aries. Neptune in Aries is going to conjunct Mercury in Aries, so major communication and maybe confusing communication around April with the enemies, with Iran and all them. Okay, May 2025, when Saturn enters Aries, that's when I said all the things earlier. A lot of maybe they're very persistent, maybe they're very thinking long-term approaches, or maybe they're restricted in some sort and they have to have some hard lessons that could be happening, and or both. Okay, July 2025, Uranus will enter Gemini, and that's going to enter their ninth house, and it's going to be expected unexpected with their philosophies and the greater picture of how they think of things. So we'll see, and it's going to actually eventually be touching theirs, and that's going to be major unexpected surprises for Israel. Let me see. Let me did I didn't let me pull a card. I did Iran already, right? I did Israel. That was Israel, and I'm just yeah, okay. So Iran is on my notes twice. Why? Anyway, so let me pull a card for Iran. I mean Israel. Israel, we have the three machetes. That's not looking great. Some heartbreak, um, from something from their past. Something from their past is going to hurt them. Okay, something from their past is going to hurt Israel, and Israel also too is not looking at the things that God is giving them. They're ungrateful for the things they have. They feel like they don't have enough. I think that all makes so much sense. So apologies for anyone. This is not about a religion. This is just about the state stuff. Yeah, as far as America, real quick. Did I do Palestine? Am I saying Palestine correctly? I just don't want to take up the time of the live, and I will continue the perfection year. But I just want to tell you that America. I can actually let me pull up a card for Palestine. Palestine, you are dealing with two different areas, and they have a lot to juggle currently, right now, and in the future. They will have a home, but it's going to be the chariot of homes carries a home on her back. So it looks like they're moving on to another home. This is just what I have for my tarot. Okay. Now, America, let me pull the card for America. And real quick, America 2025, Mars will enter Cancer. It will be sitting on top of the sun here next year in 2025. We're going to be really aggressive for our home. This happens about every year, so that's fine. Also, to know that because we are dealing with Cancer, that Mars is going to retrograde in a sign Cancer. That's going to give us aggression and maybe too much aggression. Be aware of that. Then sit here and go into our ninth house. But some deaths here could be happening. I'm going to get into that a little bit more detailed a little bit later in another video. When we have Neptune entering Aries, where is Aries? You guys, I am hungry. I can't even think. Okay, I'm doing fasting. It is 2 o'clock. I am at my end. Okay, I have not eaten at all. Neptune entering Aries. I want you to know that this is about pride here, creativity. This is about being bold. This is about our youth. This is also about some illusion. Oh, there was something I did not mention about Neptune. Israel moving into Israel in the future too. For my notes, and my notes are distorted, so I'm just going to tell you, Israel was moving something towards the fifth house too, and this could also be dealing with entertainment. Okay, and this is what we have for our entertainment coming up in this year, 2025 in Aries. So there's something with entertainment and it's connected to Israel. That is going to change. I will remember the details of it from my notes. I tried to put them all together from the weekend. I also got sick over the weekend. So that is, I don't want to give any excuses, but I want you to understand but there's something with the entertainment, and this is going to be big for America coming up. And I know that the entertainment industry, there's a lot of discovery with entertainment. That's going to be bigger next year. The illusion and the deception of entertainment is going to be brought out. So that would be amazing. Okay. Challenges with any type of entertainment industry, criticism, all that is going to be a big thing, because that, and it also represents children and the youth of children too, that fifth house. Just so you know, a lot of fighting for children, fighting something aggressive, something new with the entertainment too. Yeah. So what else happens to start? What happens in 2026? Anyway, I have to let me see. Two big planets will be squaring the sun, Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury in the eighth house of power. I'm gonna have to look. I don't know what that's a random note that's sitting there. Oh, let me pull cards for America real quick. Um, Apologies for the predictions not being, I mean, they are on point, just so you know. But my notes were so much better, and I will tag them on to the next video that I do. Let me pull a card for America real quick. One for America and then one for our future. It looks like we're not moving, we're not progressing. That is what's happening now. A lot of not moving forward. In the future, a lot of things, a lot of truths are going to be coming out, and they're going to be very aggressive, not aggressive, very fast for America. Okay. Truth, logic, clarity. Will start to happen, and it's going to be very passionate. Okay. Yeah, so that is what I have. Let me see. I have a comment before I go. If you have any questions, say them. Is that a sad? Is that a sad face? Why do we have a sad face? Was something I said doomsday? Let me know, Elia Tarot. I hope not. Yeah, I hope it wasn't sad. It's just astrology and tarot. Maybe I'm just so just do and not even thinking of emotions. I hope it wasn't anything sad. If you are sad about something, Elia, let me know, and maybe I can help out with that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will put in Palestine's future. I'll discuss that in my next live. And if you guys have any other questions about what is happening, I hope I answered all your questions, what we have going on. Yeah, and I do know we have Aries coming up, a lot of planets, big planets coming in Aries. So the sign of war is going to get worse. I don't mean to be negative. I'm just being honest. I'm not sugarcoating anything. Neptune in Aries is moving. That's war. Saturn in Aries is war. Government structures, corporations, all are going to be fighting in a war. Okay. On the positive side, there is new infrastructure. There's new governments happening, and when you have that, I guess you do need the conflict of things. But currently, right now, everyone as a whole has a sense of endings. There's huge deaths happening. There's restrictions that are very secretive, or the boundaries are not being very clear. When Saturn enters Aries, the boundaries will be very clear, and there will be war at boundaries, a lot of conflicts at boundaries. And if you look at Lebanon and Israel, that's a boundary. There will be war there, and this will be as a collective around the world. Okay. Yes. Yes, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow because I'm doing the weekly astrology and horoscopes. Bye.